Hello, CodeWriter here from Lumpology.com, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can create your very own programming language. So there's a few things we're going to need. There's a special programming language that I've been involved with for the development of, and we're going to be using it to make the language. And it's actually quite simple, so we may as well start right away. So we're going to need a web browser for a start, and just go to slslpl.sourceforge.io, and the package is // programming language. This language has special capabilities to make it very simple, and it's very fast. So you'll get an installer. You can also go through GitHub, link in the description, and download the version 11.zip file if you're into this kind of thing. I find the installer to be a little easier. So here's the installer. It's v11.exe currently. It'll increase as versions are released, so you may in future see 12, 13, 14, so on and so forth. So if I run the installer, you'll get this screen most likely. Say run anyway. The installer works for Linux currently also, so you can find a Linux version. Not the installer, but there's another GitHub link in the description that will be for Linux, and you may, it's not around currently, but in future you will probably see a Macintosh version as well. So choose the folder to install to, and I'm just going to put it onto my desktop. By default, it puts it in the location of your installer. So, a few files have actually popped up throughout the desktop. main.ssplus.exe, main.lpl, and lib. These are, and actually, yes, that is it. Okay. So, first thing that you're going to need, oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay, so, yes, so I actually have to put this in. It's just a little package that makes it, runs graphics. Anyways, so this pre-included script with the package is, will by default, is basically an already existing source code for a programming language. Basically, it just opens the correct file and reads it and translates it. So this is basically what our script file will look like. It's going to be, you're going to say output hello world end, and that's tutorial 1. There will be a part 2 to this video, and probably a part 3. So when this code runs, hello world is output. And then we close the program manually. So how is it that we can translate this code here, or make a translator to run this code? So obviously it's going to take a bit of learning, but it should be quite easy to pull this off. So we are going to open the main.ssplus file, and actually here I'll create a project on the desktop. Lumpology programming language. And I'm just going to put them all in a folder. I recommend doing this ahead of time for the installer. Anyways, these are the packages you will see. This will be included. My mistake for not putting it in the installer. That will be fixed. But anyways, so open the main.ssplus file. This is the thing ssplus.exe looks for running everything. So rename it to the name of your programming language. So I'm going to call my programming language Lumpology Programming Language, or LPL. So I'll just rename it to that. And so here is our IDE. I'm just going to clear the default code that is there. So let's start with a setup. So I'm just going to say, make a bit, so /+ is a bit of default syntax that you may have to learn. I have some other videos on the channel that will cover that, that do cover that currently. The basic idea is you enter folders and execute things in the folders. I recommend taking the silent tutorials that I have on the channel, and more will be coming out as time goes on. So for this to work, we have to start by opening a file. So in this language, we open a file by entering a library. This is called input, or in, and then we reference something inside the library by saying the library name, putting an underscore, and saying, in this case, open file. That references a command inside of it. I'll make this bigger so you can see. So now we're going to say what the file we want to open is. So we have our code. So let's make a new set of code. It's going to be print hello world. And then we'll just say n as our code. And this is saved in LPPL here. You can make your own file type, which is great. So for example, if you wanted it to be as a joke, we could say, oh, by the way, I get these extensions here by saying view file name extensions here. Very handy. So let's make our new code type code.program program file. So I'll open this up and it will be print hello world. So then let's open this up. So let's start coding in the actual language. So I'm going to have a look for code.program. So code.program is going to go here. That's the file name here, and it's in open file. This looks for the root directory. You can add roots and paths in for inside folders as you like. So next, inside of here, we're going to need a few other things. I'm actually going to do something right now that's, I'm going to leave in underscore input, and I'm going to say return, and I'm going to say, and then I'm going to re-enter the library by saying in, and that re-enters the library. There's a reason for this, and it's got to do with some statements we'll be using later. So now I'm going to say in underscore read file, and this is going to take our code.program and read the first line. If after this I'm going to enter a different library called output and say out underscore read, and it's going to output what we just read from read file from our code.program. And I'm actually going to do the same thing here 3 times. And then I'm going to say return, then I'm going to say end underscore key out to, and this is a new library, and this is a method of ending the program so that it blocks the program so that we can actually look at the console that we just created. So if this runs, we'll see all of the text inside of our text file here, because the first read file read this line, and then it read this line, and then this one, and then so that's the idea. To close this, hitting enter will just create new lines. Just type a key and hit enter then. So let's open this back up, and let's continue. So we can read the file, so we know that works, which is good. So I'm going to actually go back to here and just close this. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to put a notation in. I'm going to say, and by doing this, this is a comment. In other programming languages like C++, you have slashes, or in Python, I believe they use sharp, like comments. In /+, we use note, and then note reserves the next line to random text to be ignored by the language. So note, and I'm just going to say index underscore list, index list. And so this is going to be, a notation is actually more powerful than you think. We're going to use index list as a reference point for view language. So we're going to read the file, and then we're going to have to process the file. So we're going to enter a new library called if, and then we're going to say if underscore read. So here's how you can change things yourself to, so if read equals, we also have less is less than, is greater than, is equal to or greater than, is less than or equal to, is positive, is negative, and that's if it reads a number, it'll convert the data properly, is not. What else do we have? We have approximately equal to, or equal to within a range. And I think that's basically it. So we're just going to use equal. So yeah, I'm going to type if read is equal to, and I'm going to say if read is equal to print, then we're going to say go to, and we're going to search for the line print library. And it's going to ignore this line, but it's going to look for this exact string inside the code starting from the beginning, but it will ignore line 14 here. Line numbers are important in this language because it processes on line basis. You can add breaking into your code like this. White space is ignored. But just know it will not qualify this as a line, so this becomes line 12, 13, 14, and 15. Just to note. So after this, we're going to say that happened, and then we're going to say otherwise. Also check for if read is equal to end. And if so, go to ending library. So this IDE I'm using here is called Notepad++, by the way. You can use any text editor available to you. So, after this, we're going to need some kind of otherwise statement. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to say go to the output library and say out underscore line. This is a method of outputting direct text to the console, and say syntax error. And then just end the program, end underscore key out. There we go. And then, so now I'm going to add a bunch of white space in, and I'm going to say print library. I'm going to say ending library. So it's going to look for this, and then it's going to execute the next line after it, these statements. So if what we read is equal to print, it's going to go to print library, and it's going to read this and then go to the next line. So print is going to say be in the in library, and it's going to be in underscore read file, and then it's going to be output what we just read, out read, and then it's going to be an if statement, and it's going to say if hit. If hit is always true. If you type if hit, it automatically goes to the if line action section, where you can reference a go to. So if hit, I'm going to say go to, and then I'm going to reference this notation text here, index list. Go to index underscore list. Pretty simple, right? So there is no statements after it, so you do not have to add an ending statement after this. This is a guaranteed to work, but will crash the program if this doesn't exist. Without any syntax errors, it'll just crash. So, similar thing for ending library, except we're just going to say end underscore key out. That's all that needs to exist. It doesn't need to go back to the index list. So this code here should execute what we want to happen. So let's just do a double check, make sure everything's in case. If read equals print, go to this. Okay, so the reason I left the input library after doing this is a setup. It only needs to happen once. Code.program is one of the is what we call a low priority execution, so it'll reset everything if you hit it, and it's low on the priority list inside the programming language, so it will slow you down if it's executed too much. So, but other than that, that's why we're going to the index list here, and yeah, not if it executed too much, but it's an in general slower command than if read file, in underscore read file. Anyways, so if we run the program now, we're just going to get hello world. That's it. And yeah, so actually, it's kind of fun now, because if we go to code.program, open it up, take a look here, and we type something else. My name is Lumpology. And that outputs. So this is the first step to creating your own programming language. Tune in for part 2 in a few days. If you like this video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to keep up to date on my content, or just look at the channel every now and then. I always upload things. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This is a lot of fun for me.